Welcome back to Living on Shantae. I'm Lauren, and today I am just having a slow, windy video for a spring vlog with some things I'm enjoying right now, and I think you will too if you love a chic, delicious life of small pleasures. First, we'll make a cup of tea. I have a special tea that I'm enjoying this season. And then I'm gonna tell you about a Netflix series that I totally binged on, and it was very literary and feminine. And then I'll tell you about a magical realism book I'm loving right now that I read for a book club. And then finally, I'm gonna share one of my favorite seasonal practices with you, which is just about walking and having little intention walks or micro pilgrimages. And it really sets the tone for a beautiful, elegant spring ahead. Okay, so first I'm gonna spill the tea about a kind of delicious Netflix show that caught my attention. I cannot get into any shows these days. This has been like years since I got into any TV shows. I'd rather just be reading or doing other things. But for some reason, this popped up on my Netflix and it just caught my eye, and it's called Vladimir. So let me know if you've watched it yet and what you thought if you've seen it. But it caught my attention first because for some reason I just assumed that it would be about vampires. I don't know why that association went into my mind, but I do love vampire books and shows, so I thought that's what it was going to be about. So I started watching it, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that it took like a good 3 episodes for me to realize that it was not about vampires, but it was an amazing show. If you love kind of twisty, turny, very female shows about women's lives, and this one specifically is about this professor. She's a professor of like creative writing and literature, and she is aging, and she kind of is a little bit fed up with things, and she basically has been in a long-term marriage. Her husband is having some things going on, and she becomes extremely like addictively, obsessively obsessed with this new, much younger professor at the school where they all teach, named Vladimir. And he's married, and it's a whole thing, and it is rated MA, so you know I couldn't watch it with my kids in the room, but it wasn't like explicitly on the nose about the scenes and the language. It was very much more veiled, kind of a little bit more old-fashioned, and I really like that. So it was more about the story than, you know, just the scenes of those things. So it was really interesting, and I think it just really had an interesting narrative on women's aging and her starting to doubt who she is, and then kind of becoming obsessive in a way that she never thought she would be. And my favorite thing about it is, so if you've ever read the book Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, the main character in that book is not named. Like the protagonist of that book, she doesn't have a name. We never know her name. Rebecca is the name of her the guy that she's in love with, his ex-wife, and it's all about this obsession with her. And so this show, Vladimir, does have a parallel with that, and in fact, they even mention that book. So I think that was very much on purpose. But we never find out the protagonist's name because it's all about the story of this younger guy, Vladimir, and then the protagonist's husband, and it's just so interesting. It really caught my attention. It was really smart and witty, and it had a lot of twists and turns, and it was kind of humorous and a little bit dark, but not in a scary way. Just very intellectual, a little bit witty. So I really enjoyed watching it. And then I also loved the protagonist's house was just so chic and elegant and beautiful, and her life was very beautiful. She dressed in a very like traditionally elegant way, beautiful, timeless silhouettes, while there was kind of this comparison with the other women in the show who dressed more modern and that kind of thing. And she shopped at like a French bakery. during the show. It was just something about it really resonated with me, not about the character's story arc, of course, but because it's crazy. It gets very crazy at the end. But just about her and, questioning things and aging, and it was really interesting. So if you have watched it, or if you end up watching it, if you're into those kind of literary feminine shows, let me know what you think. I'd love to unpack that with you and see what you guys thought too. But I really liked it, and it was kind of just refreshing to dive into a story like that. I think it's 8 episodes, and it was just fun to kind of go into another world and see a story about a really beautiful, chic heroine and her journey through that. And it's definitely shocking as it goes on. There's a lot of, crazy stuff happening, but I think you might enjoy it. So then the second thing that I have to tell you about, if you love a good cozy book, is this book that I just read. I don't have the physical copy. I read it on my Kindle, but it's called The Full Moon Coffee Shop. And this is not a book that I normally would have picked up because it seems a little bit fantastical. I'm going to just find the description so I can read it to you. But my herbalist that I see has started a book club, and it's been going on for a few months now. And each book that she chooses every month is just a little bit magical, a little bit enchanted, very, daily enchantments. And so she chose this book for our book of the month, and I am obsessed. I thought it was like the coziest magical realism book ever. It's very soft. The author is Japanese, and it's set in Japan. So it just has this really calm setting and this really magical spark. It's very unusual. And if I had just heard the description, I would have been like, no, I never would read that. That sounds so strange. But it was an absolute winner. It's one of the best little books I've ever read. It was just over 200 pages, so a super quick read, but there was something totally enchanting about it. Very much about like the daily little enchantments and daydreaming and just believing in magic again and relationships and that kind of stuff. It was very, very charming. So I just wanted to share this with you and see if you had read this as well. So let me just read you this little part. It says, in Japan, cats are a symbol of good luck. As the myth goes, if you are kind to them, they'll one day return the favor. And if you are kind to the right cat, you might just find yourself invited to a mysterious coffee shop under a glittering Kyoto moon. And so what the book is about is so strange. It's this coffee shop, the Full Moon Coffee Shop, that it's like a pop-up coffee shop, and it only appears when the characters throughout the book are kind of having a hard time or they need some wisdom. And it's always under very mysterious, magical circumstances that they just kind of come upon it in unusual places. And as they approach it, it just looks like a coffee shop. They're like, okay, I'm going to get a coffee. But when they get close, they realize that the servers are all full-sized, like human-sized cats. I promise it is so good though. It's so unusual, but it's very calming. The cats are very wise. They're kind of the embodiment of like the different planets. So it does weave in this interesting little astrology angle. It's very cozy though, very comforting. And the main premise was that the patrons of this cafe who show up, the different characters who show up, can't choose what they want. There's not like a menu for them to order from. The cats instinctively know what they need. So it's these beautiful, delicious food descriptions and drink descriptions that are just so fun. I love reading about little things like that, cafes and stuff, where it's these very cozy, delicious food descriptions that just make you feel cozy and good just from reading them. So I wanted to share that book. Let me know if you've read that too. It is so delicious. And if you saw my recent video about romanticizing your life with French touches, you saw me recommend some other books there too. So check that out next if you want. But you'll know now that I love magical realism. I think it's just probably my favorite genre of all time. I'm always drawn to books in this. And this one is a little bit farther than what I would normally pick up because of the cats being the servers. But it is very cozy. It comes full circle for sure about why they're cats. And it's just adorable. So let me know if you read this or if you've read it and what you thought. I think there's a second one already out. And then the third one in this series is coming out later this year. So the final thing I want to share with you this week is a little practice that I love to do really all year, but I always remember it more once spring comes around because it's so much more pleasant to be outside. And this is little intention walks, or sometimes I think of them as micro pilgrimages. And all this is going for a walk. You probably go for walks anyway, but this is setting a very specific intention before you take your first step on your intended route. So I'll go wherever I'm going, whether that's just around my neighborhood or to a park or anywhere through the woods. And before I start my walk, I just make a little intention in my mind, like that, I intend for today to be beautiful, or I intend to draw abundance my way, or I intend to live an effortlessly elegant season ahead, anything like this. And I just say that in my mind or out loud. And as I walk, I see myself bringing that into existence, and it's really fun. So I just visualize myself taking that first step, and then as I go, bringing that to life, bringing it into existence. And then by the time I complete my intended route, I kind of imagine and visualize sparkles and stars and everything, activating my intention so that I can just bring in harmony and peace and calm to my life. I love to do this every day in the spring. It's so relaxing and so healing and so gentle and feminine. So I hope you can do this too. I hope you can find somewhere beautiful to take a walk and just imagine and visualize and enjoy a little bit of everyday enchantment with this. We can always add beautiful enchantment to our days through these tiny things, turning a regular cup of coffee into a magical moment, or a regular walk down the road just into something totally different and magical. This is where the enchantment in life really lies, and this is what separates a kind of boring ho-hum life from one that is truly charming. I hope this is something that you try, and let me know how it goes. Thanks so much for joining me again today on Living Enchanting. I hope you had a cozy little time watching this video and are inspired for some effortlessly elegant spring living. Let me know any thoughts that you have or anything that you're enjoying this spring, and make sure that you like and subscribe so you can get new videos every week. Have a beautiful week ahead.